Hello, hello, hello. Hi, family. How y'all doing tonight?
Hey.
We just wish you or welcome you to our first installment of From the Heart. I'm Pastor Merrick. This is my beautiful bride, Pastor
Oh,
Tiffany. Yes, had to
yes.
take her back a little
Hey.
bit. She got the red lip on, so I'm trying to act right.
Okay.
So this is our first installment of From the Heart. What we wanted to do was try to put a new spin on some type of like podcast slash Bible study where we're going to take some biblical principles, some life principles, and mash them together, throw in some tears, throw in some laughs, and hopefully we'll be able to touch your heart and be able to connect with you in a way. That's what we're all about, is engagement. And so hopefully this will be
Yeah.
another avenue that we can engage you. Boo, do you want to say anything to the people? You want to say
No,
hello?
just hey everybody. I'm excited to be here. Like Pastor Merrick said, this is just really just talking about real life stuff. And, you know, I I'll say like when I was younger and growing up in Bible study, I wasn't a fan, and I think just because I was really
Me neither.
young and it's the way the style that it was kind of like
Yep.
it really wasn't for like younger people
Nah,
when I
not at
was
all.
like a kid, right?
Yep.
So I wouldn't like it, but it was just really hard for me to sometimes really understand and just kind of, okay, how do I apply this to my real life? I know what
Right.
the story says, I know what these words are saying, but like how are we making this real? Like where's the connection? So I think that this is what we're trying to do
Yeah,
is like
absolutely.
make the connection, right? Not just talk about certain things on Sunday and then
Hmm.
it's like you leave all the other 6 days life like
Yeah.
just kind of hanging.
Yep.
So this is where we just kind of just keep it chill, keep it cool and
Absolutely.
just go with it.
And to your point, so much is happening in our world on a week to week
Oh my
basis,
gosh.
right? Like there's
Day to day,
yeah, day to
like
day
it's
basis, really. I
crazy.
mean, there's school
Yeah.
shootings, there's new policies coming out, there's new thoughts and practices stuff on social media or whatever that as parents, as business owners, as pastors, that touch us in a certain way. And so we
Yeah.
want to be able to create space to be able to really talk about those things and kind of hear what
Absolutely.
God has to say. I will preface this that not everything we say is going to be this is what God says, and this is what some of it's going to be our opinions and our thoughts, and whoever else we may have on the show.
Mhm.
And so we'll try to decipher between the two, but really the idea is just to make sure that we're being authentic and being real,
Yep.
and that we're being short too, because we also know that we ain't trying to keep y'all here forever.
Absolutely.
So as far as today's discussion, if I just had to put it in one word, it's really on emotions. And the real
Mm.
reason I wanted to touch on emotions today, for a couple reasons actually. One reason is that we've been in a series called Whole Heart that we're actually finishing up before our launch on the June 12th.
Yes.
Which is super excited about that.
Very
Can't wait.
excited. I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
It's coming up really soon. It's
Yeah, we'll do a
crazy.
small plug at the end just to kind of tell you guys what we got coming up. But we were in a series called Whole Heart, and Whole Heart was really about all the faculties of our heart that God tells us to love Him with our whole heart.
Yeah.
And we didn't really know what that meant, right? And so we touched on what it was to love God with our intellect, and that's really our ability to process and understand things that's happening around us. But the other way, another faculty of our heart, is emotions.
Mm.
And I think the emotional aspect is one that often gets overlooked in church sometimes, because so often we approach God cerebrally, logically, with reason, but we can't forget that God gave us emotions, right? And
Yeah.
so there's something that He wants us to do with it and make sure that we tap into that, right? And so none better than to have the Tiffany Patrice
What?
Deans to talk about emotions. And the reason
Why
I
is
say
that?
that is because you and I don't mean this to
Mm.
try to just big up you, but
Okay.
I know that over probably the last 7-8 years you've been really intentional about not just having emotions but really being able to label them, really being
Yes.
able
Yes.
to really being able to know where you are
Yes.
emotionally and be able to respond. You know your triggers. You just have a
Yes.
really good sense of where you are emotionally, much more than me. And so, and I know
Mhm.
you intentionally did that work, right? And
I
so,
did. I did.
um,
I still do.
yeah.
So
So actually, let's start
absolutely.
there. Let's talk about
Yeah.
what that work looks like and how it's kind of benefited you a little
So yeah, I think to kind of and I'm gonna give you the shortened version of
bit.
my story, my emotional journey. Um, I think just growing up, I was uh I'm not trying to sound like super like I've been around that long, but like I was raised in a time where I
Uh,
was raised in a time and raised by, so like my dad was like,
he was old
he
school.
was old
Yeah, he
school,
was. He
and
was old
he was
school.
like, he was raised old school, he was old
Yeah,
school. And so especially like being like in a Black family, it's
right.
like whatever they say, that's what
Don't
goes. You don't
talk
ask no
back.
questions,
No.
don't talk back.
Mm-mm.
Like, don't even look crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look confused. Even
Nope.
if you have questions, you just go with it.
Yeah.
And so for me, yeah, it was kind of like that was how I grew up.
Right.
And I did not share a lot of my emotions, and I had a lot of them, but I
That's right.
didn't really share them or really vocalize them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I think growing into like a young adult, and then, an adult, I, I was
Right.
not very good with expressing them. So a lot of things would come out for me um in anger,
Mm-hmm.
or in just like, I just wouldn't make a lot of sense in what I was like saying, because
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know what I felt. So it actually took some uh interaction between
Go
us.
ahead. You can tell the people it's cool. Yeah.
An
We was
entanglement.
we was
not
beefing.
not a real entanglement,
Yeah,
right? We had
not
like,
the Will and Jade
no, we
entanglement,
just
but
had like a
yeah, but
huge argument, okay? And it left me to a point where I was so like, I had no control over my emotions, and it
right,
scared me. And
right.
I remember my dad actually told me, he was like, you need to go to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was back in 2014.
Right.
And ever since then, like, I've been in therapy just to like understand myself more, to get more self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, I want to know what triggers me. I want to know if Merrick or anyone else asks me, well, like, how are you feeling, or why do you feel that way? And instead of just shrugging my shoulders, but like, I don't know.
You give
Or
language to it.
yeah, I can actually say, well, this is what I feel. Or even if I don't know what I feel in the moment, I can say, I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
still processing.
that's good.
So
That's good.
yeah, so I still go through therapy,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just, I just try to stay in tune and try to stay in touch. I don't know.
So can I lean into that a little bit? How do
Mhm.
you balance your like work and therapy with your quote unquote religion, or like your relationship with God? Like, is there a line of demarcation? Are they fluid for you, where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't think I gotta leave Christ at the door of my therapy session and then pick him back up when I get out? Like, how does that
Absolutely.
work for
I mean,
you?
that's me. I mean, and you know
Yeah,
that
I
I'm,
noticed.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm very fluid in that,
yeah,
and fluid in the sense that I bring God with me everywhere.
right,
So
right.
I've done other types of therapies as well, that I bring God into. I'm not just like, all right, this is for this part of Tiffany, and then this is for the other part. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I bring everything, like my
Yeah,
whole mind, body, soul, into
every
everything that I
aspect.
do, every
Yeah,
aspect of my life. So God is there.
yeah.
And yeah, God
I
is there.
actually think that that's almost a uh uh I don't know the right word, assessment factor for you to know whether to proceed with something or not. Because what I've seen you do is like you've walked away from stuff where you felt like you had to leave God at the door.
Yeah.
So like you changed
Yeah.
therapists, you've left jobs, like
Yes.
you're like anytime that you feel like you gotta leave God at the door, you're like, nah, like I need to be my whole self everywhere. I need to show up as Tiff everywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And yeah, and you're right. I did end up switching therapists along my journey, which is fine. I highly encourage that. If
right,
you feel like there's nothing really going on, or there's no more connection, and it's okay to look for someone else, and I did. And this person I've been seeing for the last 4 years, she's been amazing.
right,
But she was able to handle my my evolution. She was able to handle when I talked about certain things,
right,
about God, or about church life, or whatever
right.
it was. So
Yeah. And that's
yeah.
super dope because I feel like, so like in Matthew 26, Jesus, see, he told you there's gonna be some Bible in here. So
There we
Matthew
go.
26, Jesus is in the Garden of Gethsemane. He's about to be taken, I guess, quote unquote, captured by prisoners.
Yep.
He's being betrayed by Judas. And he's in the garden and he's like, terrified. He's probably going through a ton of emotions. He's scared. He's
Absolutely.
probably, angry at the fact that God put him in this position, that he's, I can only imagine he already knows his boy is about to give him up. So he's probably feeling betrayed and just
Yep.
really mad at him. And so he's in the garden and he's like praying. And then even the people who he wanted to pray with him, his ride or dies, they start falling asleep, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
was
they're
like,
just like, they leave him
not
by
even, just
himself. And it's like,
gone.
bruh, like really though? And we see a full display of Jesus tapping into his emotions, right?
Yep.
To the point where, he's asking God to take away the cup, pass this cup, if it can pass. And he's just struggling, and he's leaning into prayer, and which almost felt like a therapy session. I know he wasn't talking to a therapist, but the nature of his prayer was very much like letting God know where he was.
Yeah.
And if you could take this cup from me, please do. And he's like, but your will be done. And so he's processing, right? Like in this moment, in the garden. And what's interesting to me is that so long in church, we have almost like shunned therapy or tapping into emotions. It's like we want you to like put on, we always say like, come in here with a mindset of praise. And it's like
Right.
you gotta leave like all of your issues, the bills, the kids, the marriage, the job, leave it at the door, come in here, act like everything is okay,
Yeah.
and then worship God, give him your best, and then you can go pick it up and carry on with your week after that. But like,
Yes.
I don't think that that's biblical, but like, just I
It's
want to know your thoughts on
yeah,
that.
it's not. And I mean, I feel like we talk about this all the time, like in our private conversations, but
Yeah,
like we don't subscribe to that. Like I just
nah,
feel like, right, I feel like it's for so long it's been right, like you said, come to church, put on your Sunday best,
right,
do this, do that, smile. All right, sit up straight. That's okay. Be happy, stand up,
right,
praise God, stand up right. It's like, can I just be for a second?
right,
Because
right,
not all the time you want to sit up and stand up and praise God when someone
yeah,
like kind of forces you to do that. And it's
absolutely,
like, right, but I think we've been so
condition,
conditioned to not
yeah,
to bring our emotions, but it's like that's what God is. I mean, God is everything. And
absolutely,
even in the word, God says, do not sin in your anger.
yeah,
So obviously he's talking about anger. So there are emotions. Like God talks about emotions.
yeah,
Jesus experienced emotions. And
absolutely,
so for us to just kind of like act like they don't exist or feel like we have to put on a facade or a certain face when we are in church or around
mhm,
um our church community. I just feel like we're just being a disservice,
absolutely, yeah.
to everyone.
Yeah, we're almost only dealing with like half a human.
Yeah,
If we only try to tap into their intellectual side or just tap
absolutely.
into all the other faculties about them, but kind of like edge our way around emotions.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and so my take on emotions, from a biblical perspective, and then I'll talk about just me personally,
Mm.
um, has been, so if we look at intellect is like how we understand our surroundings, what's happened to us, how we process like what's going on around us. Emotions are essentially indicators of what's going on inside of us, right? So
Mhm.
responding to what's happening around us. So for instance, like unfortunately, the school shooting that just recently happened in Texas, in Uvalde, Texas, right?
Yeah.
All of us heard that, saw that, watched that, have had different responses to it. Our intellect is what causes us to be able to understand the factors. Like, okay, well, how many people passed away? I mean, were killed. Like, how many officers were there? How long did it take the officers to get in? Like, how many shooters there were? Like, just all of the facts around this thing, right? Our emotions help us determine where we are personally, right? Like,
Mhm.
what do I feel about this? Some people are angry, some people are sad, some people are devastated, some people are triggered, some people, just have
Yeah.
different emotional responses.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about that, I feel like God gives us emotions to give us an opportunity to be able to find ourselves in a moment and be able to know how to articulate and communicate to him what we need and where we are. Just like Jesus did in the garden, right?
Yeah.
The rest of the disciples fell asleep because they didn't have an emotional response to what was about to happen.
Right.
But Jesus was able to, it informed his prayer life
Mm.
to know where he was emotionally. He
Yeah.
doesn't have to stay there, but
Right.
that he knows his starting point, right? And so with the starting point, this is where I feel like and this is where I'm getting personal, a lot of men fall off. Because if we don't tap into our emotions, we don't have a starting point. We just go straight into reason. Like, okay, like there's been so many times me and you have had discussions about something that may be important, and it's
Mhm.
like our daughter's school or something, and I'm looking at like, okay, well, how much does it cost? Like, how long is it going to take us to get there? Like all the factors around it, and you're asking questions like, well, like, what do we feel about her going to a school that,
Yeah.
like private school versus public school, or what is she going to feel when she gets into the space? Like
Right.
all of these like emotional factors that we can't overlook, but sometimes men do. And so like, I think that that's a problem, But the question is, from a female's perspective,
Mhm.
what have you noticed? Just like you got a brother, you got a dad, you got a husband, like just being around males. What's the detriment of us not being able to like fully tap in?
How much time
I
do we
know, right?
have?
See,
Because
look.
that is like a loaded. No,
No,
okay,
I'm
I'm
with
being
you.
really
No, you can
extra,
be
but
real. No, it's all good though.
I mean, I don't want to say it's detrimental, right?
Okay, okay.
Because I feel like that could be taken like really extreme or like out of context.
Yeah.
But do I feel like it is a good thing? No, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And um, but then I on the other side, like I can't imagine being a man, right? And dealing with all of the things, the pressures and the responsibility that you all have to like deal with, you have to carry, especially men who have families. And you all like are leading your families, or if there are men who have like businesses and they're leading their businesses and they have employees. I mean, it's so many things,
Yeah.
pastors, whatever the case is.
Right.
It's a lot to shoulder. It's a lot to carry. So I do see why men would not tap into the emotional side, because it's like, all
That's
right,
good.
well, we got to do this, we got to do that. I can't show no emotion, but I don't know. For me, when I see a man that shows emotion, and I don't want to say it's always about crying, because it's not
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That's good. Yeah.
crying is not equivalent to just emotion, right? It's
Teach us.
it's
Yeah.
many, it's
Yeah.
many emotions that can
Right.
take place. But I just feel like it just shows me that you're human. And
That's
I'm
good.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, when someone like doesn't show any emotion, like I'm actually really kind of scared of that person. I
Wow.
don't care if it's a man or
Or
male or
female.
female,
Yeah.
whatever. I just feel like if you just if everything's just kind of like,
That was very like serial killer face that you
yeah, I'm
just
like,
like,
I don't
yeah.
know. Like, I
Right.
just feel like, because I'm like, where are you? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know where you are. I don't know
Right.
how you feel.
Right.
I don't know what affects you. I don't know what triggers you. I don't
Yeah.
know what gets you excited.
Yeah.
Like, if you were just here all the time,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm 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 a little nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little nervous.
That's a good take, because I always thought of not being able to really be there for somebody who's overly emotional, because I'm like, you can go either way. Like, I don't know. But you
Yes.
put it in another perspective, because it's like, well, I can't really support you if I don't know. I mean, this is like,
Yeah.
like how am I supposed to support you, especially married couples? Like, how can I show up for you if I don't know where you are, if you don't know where you are
Yeah.
in the midst of this,
Yeah.
or if you're just constantly like just continuing to the next thing, and it's like we haven't processed this, we don't know, we haven't taken no lessons away from it. I don't really like, all I know is just that, okay, like he good, so
Yeah. And I feel like that's a common phrase that we all use a lot of times, right? Oh,
I'm
I'm
good.
good.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Wow, that's
I'm
good.
cool.
Yeah.
And, if you just go anywhere, like I remember always thinking like going to church and people ask you, oh, how you doing today? And I'm like, oh, I'm fine. And I'm like, really not.
Cute.
But then I always think about it. I'm like, well, do you really want to know the real answer?
Yeah,
Like
like,
if you ask me like,
nobody wants
how
to
you
know.
doing? How you doing
Well,
today?
since you
And I'm
asked.
like, well, you know what? I'm depressed today. Like today is horrible. Like I didn't know what to wear. Like I'm getting too big for my clothes. Like,
Yeah.
can you handle all of that?
Nah.
It's just like you feel like people can't, so you just say,
Yeah,
oh, I'm fine,
that's good.
or whatever, just to kind of like
Yeah, just to get
keep
past
it,
the moment.
to get
Yeah,
past it, keep it moving.
that's good.
And I'm not saying you have to like pour your heart and soul out to everyone, right? But to those that we have true relationships with, whether it's
Yeah.
our spouses, our friends, our family, because I really feel like that is what allows us and helps us to grow in our relationships,
That's
is
good.
being able to support each other in whatever emotions we're dealing with, but also in expressing them.
That's true.
Because it's all about, like, I feel like it's about giving and receiving. So whether you are the one who has your emotions and you're trying to express them and let them out, or whether you're here supporting the other person
That's
and
good.
hearing what they have to
Yeah.
say, I feel like it can really help and evolve your relationship.
Yeah.
But again, if you never know where someone is at, and like if you and a friend have never gotten into an argument,
That's real.
I mean,
yeah.
again, I mean, I can't speak for everybody's relationships or friendships, but
at least
I'm
a
like,
disagreement or something.
I don't need a friend and we're gonna agree on everything all the time. We've never gotten into an argument, because that's kind of scary, because if we have some years on us,
Right.
and then the day we do get into something, it's
Yeah,
probably a whole
it's
lot
gonna be
of pent up
catastrophic. Yeah,
stuff that's never been expressed
that's
or
good.
talked about.
Yeah.
So I just think it's good just for
Hmm.
any type of relationship to,
Yeah,
yeah.
and leaning into that, we even our relationship with God, right? Like not just people,
Yes.
because we always assume like, okay, well, God knows where I'm at, He knows me, and so I don't have to express it. But I feel like it's really about you knowing where you are so that you can lean into the relationship with God
Yep.
authentically. Like, there's a verse that says, "Be not anxious, but in all things through prayer and
Yep.
supplication, make your request known to God." So you have to know that you're dealing with the anxiety in order to know like that this applies to me, right? Like you have to know that I'm being anxious, that I'm being worried, that I'm being stressed out in order to
Yeah.
know where you are. And God's like, I'm trying to help you find where you are through your emotional responses
Hmm.
to be able to know how, like, what next steps should be like, or when you talk to me, being able to know what to ask for. Because what we could do is that when we get super angry, we could go be to God praying for results of like fixing someone else or fixing the
Yeah.
situation. And we overlook
Absolutely.
ourselves so
Of
often. We're
course.
like,
It's
God, change
yeah.
this, like get, fix my coworker,
Yeah.
fix my
Get them
job,
together.
yeah, get them together. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or I
Yeah.
just need money for the bills. And it's like,
Yeah.
nah, you need to know where you are first.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when God was walking in the after Adam and Eve sinned, he's walking through the garden and he says, "Where are you?" And he knows where they are.
Yeah.
I mean, if you believe that God is omniscient, you know what I mean? Like he knows where they are. He wants them to identify
Right.
where they are. And I feel like that's what emotions help us do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I even feel like, you said that just kind of triggered something to me, but just like and going back to Jesus as well, as far as like our prayer lives, that is just like right, prayer is just simply just like having a conversation, like talking to
Absolutely.
God.
Yep.
And I feel like when I'm having like my prayer,
I don't even want to know see your prayer.
you don't know, because I'm like I'm laughing because I talk to God very frankly.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm like, he's the homie. He
Right.
already knows how I
Right.
feel. So I'm
Right.
like, so I really feel like us praying is really just doing it just for us to,
Yeah.
like you said, for us to
Self-identify.
know where
Yeah.
we're at, for us to say it, because God already knows it. He's
Right.
been known this.
Right.
He knew it since the beginning, before the
Yeah.
beginning of time.
Yeah.
And so it's really just us, like, okay, us coming to God, us creating, like having this safe space with Him,
Mm-hmm.
and saying, okay, like this is where I'm at, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times that's why we'll feel better after we do it,
Very
because we're
true.
like, we've come to this place where we can express what we're feeling.
Yeah.
Or if we don't know, it's like, God, I don't know.
Right.
And we can
Yeah.
say that,
Yeah.
but you still just kind of always feel better after
You
prayer, even
do.
though the
Yeah.
problem may not be solved in
Right.
that moment,
Mm-hmm.
but you do feel better.
Yeah. I think it creates it's almost an invitation too. So it's like,
Yeah.
this is where I'm at. It's just like Jesus. Like we go right back. Like
Yeah.
this is where I'm at. I don't want to do this, but your will be done. Okay, like
Exactly.
you know what I mean. Like all right,
Exactly.
God. Like you know what I mean. But at least I was able to just because He didn't create us to be robots at all. Like
No,
He didn't create
no.
us. You know what I mean. He wants to have interaction, and He gave us free will so that we could decide to come to Him and bring things to Him in that way or
Absolutely.
whatever. And so when we neglect that again, we're basically God feels so distant when we
Yeah.
don't allow Him to be a part of our full emotional.
Yeah.
I'm doing a time check. What we looking like, producer?
We're good. I'm looking at
25 minutes.
We're at 25. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
I'm looking at your
Oh,
watch.
she looking at
So
my. She already on it, yo. She already on it, yeah. So this last 5 minutes, I want to try to tap into, and we may not have enough time all the way, but how do for you, you know what I mean? Like, how do emotions play into things that are really personal to you, like let's say like marriage?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? We kind of touched on it a little bit when we are talking about the dynamics of supporting somebody, but I think I think there's a tendency for people to want to check emotions at the door when it comes to long-standing relationships that are committed,
Mhm.
like marriage, or it could be a work relationship.
Mhm.
But like, I think those are primary places when you when you interact with it day in and day out, that you tend to shy away from being overly emotional in them, whether you don't want to be judged or whether it's you just want to get through the night or get through the day, and like I ain't trying to kick up no dust because I gotta
True.
be here. Like, you
Yeah.
ain't trying to kick up dust at work or at home most of the time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, kind of walk me through that. And you could even use, as an example if it comes to mind, but just kind of why it's important to make sure that like emotions stay somewhat on the table, but they also are like somewhat relegated in a marriage. I know it's a heavy question, but just, from your from us, because there's been times, and I'll color it in a little bit more. There's definitely been times where I feel like me and you felt like we went stretches without being like emotional, or vulnerable. Maybe that's a better word. Vulnerable, because we just had so much on our plate. We were just trying to get through the day. And when we did do our check-in, we realized there was a lot more there. So that's probably one where it's like way too much. But then I think early on, before we had kids and stuff, there was a lot of times when me and you would just make everything a conversation, a thing. And it was like, okay, we're doing the most. Like, we can let this go. But like, how do you, like, what's the balance in that?
And I think I know it varies between each person,
right?
And
True.
Each relationship. So, but I think no matter the relationship, so whether it is, your favorite coworker, or like whatever the relationship is, I think just kind of establishing how can I say this? So I think just really sharing what's important to you.
That's good.
Up front, if you can, I think that is what helps. So because, I mean, there are going to be so many things that we get emotional over, and we know that, emotions and feelings are fleeting. So we know like every little thing, like, we cannot, like, I cannot get on you about every little thing, and you cannot get on me, because we will be fighting forever and like all the time, right? It would just be like, and who wants to do that? It's annoying. It's irritating. It's frustrating. But it's like, okay, so like these are like the top 3 things, Merrick, that like, this is like,
we're gonna have a problem.
Like, or just like, this is what, and not just even like a problem, but this is what is important to me.
Right, that's good.
Or this is what triggers me. So this is what I need, like, this is when I need that emotional support. And then, so I would just maybe start with like 3 things, like 3 big things.
Homework. That's good.
Yes.
Write
like,
your 3 things down.
Right. Whatever those 3 things are. And and then it's like, okay, so that person can kind of know. I think a lot of times we jump into marriages, we jump into friendships, and I mean, you've had some friends for so long that like we never, especially the older you get, like you don't really make a lot of new friends. I mean, like I hear about the no new friends, but I mean, I don't mind making new friends, like
But you definitely are a little bit more guarded on those friends as you get older. You're like, all right, let me see,
guarded, and intentional. So I think
intentional,
like when you're young, when you're like middle school, high school, college, you don't have conversations. So like, let me know what your top 3 triggers are, so I can be like the best friend to you, right? But I think the older we get, we're like, okay, like, because we know we really want these relationships to be meaningful. We want them to last. We want them to be fulfilling on both, on all sides.
That's good.
But I think just coming up with your top 3 and like really saying to yourself, okay, in case something else happens, like, what can I really just like brush off in the sense that you're not ignoring it, right? Because I don't think it's good to ignore your emotions, but okay, this happened. How do you feel about it? Of course, this is all like conversation in your head, or if you have it outside, that's fine too. But what happened? How do I feel? Is this something that like I really need to address right now? Like, and also timing is important, because it may not be now is the best time to address it. And then, okay, where do we go, or where do we grow from here?
Come on.
So if it's something that's I'm just, it's coming off the top of my head right now.
Freestyle.
But so that's why I feel like I take into account with you. I take into account with my friends, even like our kids. Because I'm like, I'll be doing the same thing, nagging like all the time. And I'm like, is this worth the squeeze right now? Is this juice? Like, I'm just gonna get like a dribble. Like I'm you know what? We're just gonna just let it go and move on, because it'll be something else. It's life. So
that's good. So the takeaway, find 3 things. That's because I'm definitely gonna do this. Like, I really am gonna do this.
Me too.
I've never done this work before. So
find
3 things that are important to us.
Absolutely.
That we could potentially have conversation with other people we're in relationship with. To be like, these are areas. And the way you framed it, which I love, you said these are areas where I may need emotional support. So
Exactly.
not like these are landmines that if you step on them, I'm just gonna blow up. But more so like
Exactly.
these are areas where I need your grace, your
What? Yeah,
your
grace,
yeah,
emotional support. So for me, like, okay, I'll think of, let me see, 3. So right now, one would be in particular my dad.
that's
Since
good.
my dad transitioned.
That's
Okay, I
good.
need a whole lot of extra emotional support there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
so some things may trigger me, some things may make me feel sad or make me feel or question or whatever.
That's so good.
Another thing for me that I may need emotional support in is what else could it be? Like,
I would probably say your business. And what I mean by
yeah,
that is the fact that you're still transitioning there too. Like you're finding a new client base and just
just
some of the things that you're just like, I
if
can't do
I'm
that no more. I'm
busy,
not doing it no
yeah,
more. Yeah,
yeah,
like yeah,
right.
your
So
nose are getting stronger these days.
yeah, yeah. So like getting emotional support there. And then also too, like I feel like if it's any other type of emotional support, like whether it's a relationship or a life
Yeah.
thing, um, I don't know, like maybe I mean I want to say like within our marriage, of course, but
Yeah.
if it's like I don't know. I can't think of a third one right now. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna force it, but
Yeah.
those are like my 2 right now. So,
Yeah.
and we can have this conversation offline too, where we can
Yeah.
really
I'm
talk
excited
about
about
it.
it.
So I
Yeah.
know like how to support you in whatever
Yeah.
your thing is, or you know, I don't know if it's something that maybe like right you had a dream about and wanted to do, and if you see it on TV, you get triggered by it, and you're like,
Right. Right. Yeah, I think for
whatever.
me, I don't know all of my 3 either, and I know we gotta go.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do it just for the sake of being transparent too. I would probably say that Heart Church is one of them for me.
Okay.
I think I'm because we're building, and for me, it's kind of like I'm in this weird space where I'm okay not looking good, but I really don't want to not look good,
Uh-huh.
and I'm trying to like get all these people on board, and it's just new territory for me.
Yes.
So
No.
it's brand new, and I'm real sensitive to it. It's like real
Yeah.
raw. Like I want feedback, but I don't want people to be too harsh about it. So because it's like I'm trying, okay, I got a job, I got kids, like please, like just bear with me. Um, and I think if I had one more, I can't think of my third. It's your dad too.
Yeah.
I think he was such a presence in our life,
Absolutely.
and so in different
Absolutely.
ways, and so yeah, like
And
that's
and
definitely
I think for
real.
me, my third is church. Not just
That's
Heart Church, but just church
but
in
just church in
general.
general,
Like
like
I'm
church
very
hurt
like
and just dealing with the
just
church. Yeah,
you know, yeah.
yeah,
I'm just
I'm with
very
you.
I'm like whenever like church comes up, I'm like, okay, that's when my emotions
All
start to
right,
come out. And I'm like really
yeah,
I don't know what type of emotions they're gonna be.
yeah, yeah,
They could be anger, they could be happiness.
right,
Like this is great. Like I feel great right now. And
yeah.
so
I'm with you.
but yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's good.
that's all good real life stuff.
Well, we hope y'all
Emotions.
take y'all 3 things. That was good. I
Yeah.
hope y'all be able to identify your 3 things. We're just gonna close out in a word of prayer. And and yeah, and we'll tell you about what's next after that. Right?
Well, maybe we could just do that now really
Okay.
quick.
All right.
And then,
Yeah, we'll go ahead and tell
but
them.
yeah, so on June 12th at what time are we doing?
10:30.
10:30 a.m. we are having our official launch service. So we're super
Air
excited
horns.
about that.
Yeah.
It has been a long time coming
Right.
and we're just excited. Like Pastor Merrick said, we're just going with the flow. We're going with God. Like we're gonna have a good time. So we're gonna have service first, then we're gonna like get
Launch
out of service,
celebration.
have some
Yeah.
celebration. We're gonna have some food, some fun
Yeah.
stuff for kids,
Absolutely.
grown-ups,
Yeah.
everything. But we're still gonna like make it nice and short so you still have like the rest of your Sunday. So we're
Right.
not gonna be doing it all day. We'll be done by like what
2.
2 o'clock.
Yeah.
So 2-ish. So you still have the whole rest of your Sunday to
Yeah.
get your life and get ready for the week.
Absolutely.
But we're so excited where what God is doing, where God is taking us. And look, we're just happy if y'all want to just come along with us for the journey.
By all means.
Please
Yeah.
come on.
And y'all got the best one here because Pastor Tiffany is not one to just be, she don't want stuff to be long and she ain't trying to do it all the time. So
No.
we actually are only gonna we're actually gonna meet in person every second and fourth Sunday of the month.
Yep.
And so it's not gonna be every single Sunday, second and fourth Sunday. So if you do want to volunteer, you ain't got to be here every single week.
No,
You can take a week off, brunch it up, watch us online, and
Yeah.
we'll be good. So we're excited about that. And we're gonna be doing this every Wednesday, at least in the month of June. Hopefully, we'll extend it. We'll see, how we
Yeah.
want to do it.
Yeah.
But we're just trying some stuff out. So excited
Absolutely.
about it. We love y'all, and
Love
I'm
y'all.
gonna close on a word of prayer, and then we can
Yeah.
move forward. Father, we thank you so much for this time together. We ask that you just edify your people, Father. We pray that something was said that touched the heart of those who are listening, Father, and not only that they'll look at themselves differently, Father, but that they'll start to share with other people. We thank you, Father, for the work you're doing through Heart Church and through the pastors and the volunteers and the team here. And we just ask that you get all the glory out of this. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Love y'all.
Bye.
Peace. See y'all next week.
Peace.